Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning into Agitation Rising, your source for local leftist journalism in Central Illinois and beyond. My name is ZacharyGittrich. Today, we are going to be talking about mainly pride issues. So, issues focusing on the L's, the B's, the G's, the T's, the Q's, the I's, the A's. Basically, issues focusing on alphabet people. Now, Pride Month has been over for a little bit over a month. But we're going to keep talking about alphabet issues because not only are we going to take over the whole alphabet, we're going to take over the whole year too. Now, most big cities hold their big pride parade on like the last weekend in June, and you may have come across this video of marchers at the New York Pride Parade allegedly chanting, quote, "We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children." And of course, conservative media lost their minds when they saw this, showing it was proof that alphabet pride is a front for pedophiles grooming children. Turns out the whole thing was fake news. It was completely staged. So journalist Marla Alpert exposed this, and I saw it through the Humanist Report. Links in the description. If you carefully watch this video, the only people saying, quote, "We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children," is the cameraman and two other provocateurs near the camera.
Debunking bullshit from bed. It's not even 8 a.m. Stick around for this one. So this guy came to my comment section to tell me about this video. Conservatives are passing that around as some kind of proof that queer people are coming for their children. Go watch that clip again. The person saying "we're coming for your children" is the person behind the camera, the person who posted it, who's an agitator. Everyone else is shouting, "We're here, we're queer, we're not going shopping." We're here, we're queer, we're not going shopping. And this person asks, very rudely, why would they be saying shopping? Get your head out of your... First of all, I think the question that any actually critically thinking person would ask themselves is, why would they be shouting, "We're coming for your children," if this is some devious plot to get your children? Everyone knows groomers like to announce themselves rather than hiding in your churches. They're saying we're not going shopping because the message is anti-rainbow capitalism and corporate pride. Especially this year, where brands like Bud Light and Target have shown that they are not allies and that it's all just for profit. That's why they're saying we're not going shopping. Stay sharp, buddy.
Now, we shouldn't be surprised when we see these, like, false flag operations by social conservatives. They are more than happy to manufacture false information like this to further their reactionary narratives that queer and trans people are grooming children and are secretly pedophiles. Of course, the overwhelming majority of groomers that sexually prey on children are cis heterosexual men. And the same people that endlessly harass queer and trans people, accusing us of secretly trying to let pedophiles into the political movement of pride, who accuse us of trying to reframe pedophiles as minor attracted persons, are strangely silent when the actual groomers publicly lobby for laws that protect child predators. For example, the great bastion of traditional family values, the Catholic Church. In New York, for example, the Catholic Church spent $2,912,772 lobbying against the Child Victims Act. The act gives survivors more time to seek justice against their abusers, increasing the age at which victims are able to sue from 23 to 55. Similarly, in Pennsylvania, where in 2018 a grand jury report detailed evidence of more than 300 priests credibly accused of raping more than 1,000 children, the Catholic Church spent $5,322,979 lobbying to keep current restrictions in place on the statute of limitations in which victims can seek criminal and civil charges against their abusers. And look, you can see here, the Catholic Church lobbying in the Northeast of the United States from 2011 all the way to 2018. Look at that! The amount of money they're putting into that. Fucking disgusting. Seriously, the International Child Rape Organization that traffics literal groomers around the world to rape more children. They're literally lobbying to protect pedophiles. Look, I don't see any LGBTQ plus groups advocating against these laws that try and hold groomers and pedophiles accountable. Another example, child marriage in the United States. Currently, 80% of states currently allow child marriage if their parents, quote unquote, give permission for the kids to get married. And look at this. These are the states where child marriage is legal. So the states that have absolutely no age floor. So you could marry a 5-year-old to a 50-year-old if you want. Washington, California, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Mississippi. And even Illinois. Illinois, 16 years old. You can get married as long as you have your parents' permission. And here's the real reason that, like, child marriage is so disgusting. About 60,000 child marriages since 2000 involved a child at an age or a marriage with a spousal age difference that would have otherwise been considered a sex crime, according to Unchained data citing state laws. And that's where it is. You see, especially in these like conservative religious communities, some older man will sexually assault a minor, and they'll go ahead, they'll just go get married so that everything is, completely legal at that point, which essentially allows older men to rape minors. And they just support this because at least they're getting married, right? So I have heard that in Illinois there is currently some talk about getting a law passed that would completely ban child marriages in Illinois. Hopefully they can get that done. But the people that are always supporting this, and it shouldn't be a shocker, they're always conservative religious groups. The Wyoming Republican Party is seeking to kill a bill working its way through the state legislature proposing to raise the state's legal marriage age to 16. Not even get rid of it, just raise the legal marriage age to 16. Arguing that putting quote-unquote arbitrary limits on child marriage interferes with parental rights and religious liberty. Remember, your parental right and religious liberty to groom and rape children. That's specifically the right that they're talking about. And this is in Wyoming, which is one of the states in the country without a minimum age requirement for marriage, and it currently ranks among the top 10 states in the country for child marriages. Fucking gross. And in Wyoming, this is just to get it to the age of 16. The overwhelming majority of child marriages happen at 16 or 7. Let's look at Missouri. And this is, again, this year, April of this year, a Missouri lawmaker defended child marriage, saying kids he knows who got married at age 12 are still married. Age 12. Or here, let's look at another example of, like, actual pedophile groomers publicly trying to get laws passed to protect children. Anybody remember Jeffrey Epstein? Remember that guy? Quote, will it work for you? Ex-Virgin Islands First Lady allegedly ran suggested language for sex offender law by Jeffrey Epstein. So obviously Jeffrey Epstein, he lived, he had his own, pedophile island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. This happened back in 2011. It was between Jeffrey Epstein and former U.S. Virgin Islands First Lady Cecile Dijon. I'm assuming that's right. The Virgin Islands legislature considered amending sex offender monitoring laws, and Dijon run the proposed language by Epstein. This is a suggested language. Will it work for you? Dijon wrote, according to the brief. And then Jeffrey Epstein said, we should add out of country for more than 7 days. Otherwise, I could not go on a day trip to Tortola at the last minute. Oh darn. Oh, and then Epstein said, if we're not careful, a list of who I stay with should violate my privacy, restrict my business and livelihood. Remember, his business and livelihood was trafficking children to rich and powerful men throughout the world in order to basically get, compromising info on them and do whatever sick shit that he was really into. And that was back in 2011. But oh wait, there's even more about Jeffrey Epstein here. So you might have heard of alleged so-called Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, who is basically the delegate of the U.S. Virgin Islands. U.S. Virgin Islands is just a U.S. territory. They do not get full representation in Congress, which is complete BS. But Representative Stacey Plaskett, back in 2018 when she was running for re-election in Congress, despite that she was expected to win a third term easily, running unopposed in both the Democratic primary and the general election, So this article, Business Insider, says Plaskett had a list of people to ask for money. It included previous doctors, alumni, and, quote, individuals who were interested in the same topic for which committees I sat on. On that list, she said, was Jeffrey Epstein. So this was so Plaskett, because, even though she's running unopposed, even though she has no opposition, as part of the Democratic Party apparatus, she still has to make, money for the DNC in general. And this is same with both parties. So Plaskett was focused on hitting her $250,000 goal. A $30,000 donation was a feasible ask for Epstein. He had donated generously to Democratic politicians from the U.S. Virgin Islands for years. In exchange, he got $300 million in tax incentives and was able to fly girls to his islands without custom batting an eye. And Plaskett had taken Epstein's money before for her own campaign. Earlier that year, Plaskett sent an email to Epstein's assistant, Leslie Grove, inviting the pedophile to a fundraiser for her campaign. She said she would be grateful for whatever support Epstein could provide. Epstein responded just 2 minutes later in his typically typo-marred prose. He wrote, "Get maximum amounts allowed." Plaskett invited Epstein to 2 dinners. This was back in 2018. He was convicted, he was a known convicted sex offender all the way back in 2007 in Florida. So in 2018, Plaskett is still asking Jeffrey Epstein for money, inviting him to fundraisers. At some point in the fall of 2018, Plaskett visited Epstein at his Manhattan mansion. Plaskett said Grove greeted her at the foyer and brought her to Epstein, who was sitting at a long dining room table. He agreed to give the full $30,000 that Plaskett had asked him to contribute to the DCCC, though the committee ended up rejecting the donation. So look, we know who the actual groomers are that are sexually assaulting children, and it's not alphabet people. It's the Catholic Church, it's the Baptist Church, it's Jehovah's Witnesses, it's the Mormon Church, it's, powerful politicians working with known sex traffickers like Jeffrey Epstein. These are the actual groomers in society. These are the actual societies protecting so-called minor attracted persons, trying to make sure that they're, kept safe and that they don't actually face any accountability for their actions, or that they're able to get away with all the perfidious shit that they do. So, like I said, we know who the actual groomers are, and it's not us alphabet people. Thank you so much for turning into Agitation Rising, your source for local, leftist, independent journalism in Central Illinois and beyond. You can always find our articles on our blog, link in the description. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Agitation Rising is under the Strange Corners of Thought umbrella, so feel free to contribute directly to our Patreon, or donate via PayPal or Cash App. Again, links in the description. Keep agitating, keep rising, and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks.